Welcome to At Home with Music. I'm Leon Olguin. I want to talk about why reading piano music can be so frustrating and how to get beyond that frustration. Now, I used to teach group piano lessons. I'd have 20, 30 people in a room, in a classroom or seminar type setting, and I would begin the class by asking, how many of you took piano lessons at some point? And a great many of the folks would raise their hand. Yeah, I took piano lessons. And then I would ask, how many of you are still taking piano lessons? Well, at this point, no one raised their hand. I would follow up by asking, well, are you sorry that you didn't keep going? And several students would kind of raise their hand. That's why most of them were there. They wanted to continue learning piano, but something got in the way. And they stopped taking lessons and they let it go, and they wish they could come back and continue playing. I tried to find out why they quit taking piano lessons in the first place, and some of the answers I received were very typical. Some folks quit because it was boring. Others thought they didn't have enough time, life got in the way, work, family, and they just didn't feel like they could devote enough time to it, and so they gave up. Maybe somebody told them that you need to have talent in order to be able to play. Now, the subject of how valuable is talent, well, that's worthy of another video. We won't go into that right now. What was one of the main reasons that so many people stopped taking lessons? Well, they told me. I had a hard time reading the music. It was very frustrating. I didn't get to play stuff that I wanted to play. I had to play these goofy little songs, and I'm trying to read the notes, and it was too hard. Many piano students are taught to read music the traditional way. Nothing wrong with that at all. I in no way want to put down teachers who teach classical piano. I was taught classically. It can be difficult for many piano students to learn to read music in this way. You have to learn, first of all, where the notes are on two different clefs. And so you look at the treble clef and you've got the lines and the spaces. Every good boy does fine. And you go to the bass clef and it's all different. Now the spaces are all cows eat grass or all cars eat gas, whatever it is. The notes are in entirely different places on the two different clefs. And so when it comes time to read piano music, in the classical training method, you have to read two clefs at the same time. And keep your hands coordinated. It can be slow going. It can make you jealous of violinists and trumpet players and other instrumentalists who only have to read one clef. Also, learning a piece of music simply by reading notes on the page, that can be frustratingly slow. You're not even sure if you're getting it right. You got to remember the rhythms. You got to remember the notes. You've got to remember the dynamics, everything. Basically, this method of reading music is designed to enable the student to play classical music. If your desire is to play classical music, then that's the way to go. It can be difficult, but that's the only way to go if you want to learn to play classical music. A most worthy endeavor, by the way. I never want to discourage anyone from doing that. But if you try to play popular songs, for example, using the classical method, trying to read the sheet music, it never sounds quite right. The songs are written out like classical music with the right hand and the left hand and all the notes, and you try to play it, and it doesn't sound quite right. Then you have a lot of folks who can play the piano. You ask them, can you play the piano? I say, yes, I can. And very often they are really good. They have a lot of technical ability. But if you take their music away, they're lost. They can't play. And they find that frustrating too. I've known several piano players who very good players, but you take their music away and they can't play. So you have the frustration of trying to read piano music and then becoming totally dependent on the music. The method that I teach is designed to free you from total dependence on sheet music and also to help you get past the frustrations of reading music. How can we get past those frustrations? I start by teaching my students how to read the notes on the treble clef. Oh no, we're getting back into music reading. Well, don't worry. We're not even going to concern ourselves with the bass clef for the time being. You just want to learn the notes on the treble clef. But then here's the important part. We also want to learn chords. Now, we've talked a lot about chords on this channel. And that's one of the beautiful things about learning keyboard is you can make beautiful noise right away, beautiful sounds by playing chords. In fact, playing chords on the piano might be a little bit easier than playing chords on the guitar. So you start by playing chords. You can learn the basic chords. I show you how to find those in very quick fashion. You learn how to find the melody first. Sometimes you can pick it out by ear. Sometimes you can use the sheet music as a guide. And the type of music that we use to play songs, we often use what are known as lead sheets. I've talked about those in the past as well. All you have on lead sheets are the melody written in the treble clef and the lyrics, of course, and over that, the chord symbols. You've probably learned about all those things if you've been watching my video. You learn to play the melody, and then you add chords underneath. If somebody else is handling the melody, then all you have to do is play the chords. And then as you continue to learn this particular method, you begin to develop your own accompaniment patterns, different ways of accompanying somebody who's handling the melody, or different ways of playing a song as a soloist. You're basically learning as you go. You're developing your own way of doing things, your own individual style. And the lead sheets, the sheet music, that's simply a guide to help you remember the tune. You don't use a lead sheet to learn the song. You learn a song by hearing it, and a lot of it is done by ear. It's likely a song with which you are already familiar, perhaps a song you've always wanted to play. And so you're not really learning it from scratch. You've already got a good idea of how it goes. You're not learning it from reading the music. What you learn how to do in this method, the method that I teach, is you learn how to read, and I put that in quotes, lead sheets. And as you progress, you learn accompaniment patterns, and you learn different ways of accompanying somebody, a singer or somebody who is handling the tune. Develop your own style. What it boils down to is that not only do you know how to read music, just the treble clef at this point, you're learning how to improvise within the structure of a song. The chord progression serves as your guide. The melody, as written on the lead sheet, also serves as a guide. It's there to remind you of the tune, but it's not meant to be read literally as you would a classical piece. Sometimes, when you're playing in this particular style, you might end up playing from a chord chart. Now the melody's not even there. It's assumed that you already know the melody, and you probably will not be required to play it anyway, because you might be in a band, or you might be accompanying a singer. There's another subject worthy of study, by the way, how to play as part of an ensemble, how to play in a band. When you think about it, this approach to the piano, or the keyboard if you like, is similar to the way that many amateur guitarists and even professional guitarists are similar to the way that they start out. They begin by learning chords, and the more chords, the better. They don't begin by trying to read music and play notes. They learn by playing chords and then developing strumming and picking patterns, and they use those to accompany the melody. A lot of them, of course, are singing that melody themselves, or they're playing for someone else, and maybe they're part of a band. Eventually, a lot of guitarists learn how to play songs all by themselves, and much of this is worked out by ear. You can go online and find all kinds of what they call guitar tabs, where there's lyrics and there's chords, and in this way, guitarists can learn to play songs. Well, you can do that too on the keyboard. There's a lot to learn, as you've probably figured out, but the beauty of it is that you don't have to learn everything in order to be able to play a song. You can start with the basics. Basic note reading on the treble clef, learning basic chords, and then you can continue to build on that foundation for as long as you desire. I'm still learning new things, and I've been a professional musician for over 5 decades, and there's still new things for me to learn as well. Yes, Simply reading piano music in the traditional way, that can be frustrating. But there are ways to get past that initial frustration and begin making beautiful music. You don't need to quit, and you can learn at your own pace. So it doesn't matter if you took piano lessons when you were a kid and you quit and you regret it and you want to get back to music. It doesn't matter if you're 40, 50, 60, 70. I have students in their 80s who have picked up the instrument again after a long, long time away. But through this method, they can get past the frustration of reading music the old classical way, which once again is a good way to learn if you want to play classical music. They get past that frustration, they learn chords, they learn how to read lead sheets, they learn how to improvise. Oh, a whole new world opens up to you as a performing musician or as somebody who just wants to play for their own pleasure. And believe me, there's a lot to be said for that. It'll do your brain good to make music as well as be a passive consumer of music. Those are my words of encouragement for you today. If you find yourself frustrated or you find that you want to start up your music education again, I say go for it. It's not too late. It's something that can be done. It's going to take a little dedication, a little bit of discipline, but you can do it. Thanks for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. You know what to do. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed recently. I'm very, very grateful. A great many of my viewers are still not subscribed to the channel, so if that's you, please go ahead and subscribe. It will only take a few seconds. It won't cost you anything, and it helps the channel a lot. Thank you again, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one.